Hi everyone, Riley here, and welcome to video 4 of week 1, and this one's called Switching to the New Model. Now, in the beginning of this week, we went over setting your foundations right, getting you logistically all set up for this course, what this course entails, how you're going to benefit from it, what steps to follow, and really just getting your mindset right for really what's ahead. And then after that, we really broke down the brainwashing that society and the workplace and just mainstream media shoving into our heads on a constant basis when it comes to sleep, and how we shouldn't sleep enough in order to get ahead. And then we started getting to fundamentals. So what is really the right thing about sleep, and what is it all about? But in this module, Switching to the New Model, this is really about transitioning over to the new model of things and showing you what the new model entails and why it's so much better than everything that's ever existed before when it comes to sleep. So let's get started. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we're going to talk about become more productive by doing more in less time. Then we're going to cover your biology is unique, treat it as such. And then we're going to go into complex problems and solutions. After that, we're going to cover precise measurement for exceptional results. And after that, with all that said, we're going to be talking about seeing for the first time and how when you see so clearly and everything makes so much sense, it makes the steps that we follow in this course that much easier to just integrate into your life seamlessly. So first, becoming more productive by doing more in less time. So achieving sleep nirvana. So when you get a deeper, more restorative sleep, you're more alert, energetic, higher endurance, and become more emotionally aware of the people around you. This results in higher productivity because you're able to get more done in less time and more responsive to your environment. The sleep nirvana state of productive bliss allows you to concentrate on your day-to-day activities in a totally different reality compared to your sleep-deprived version of you. Everything is done more seamlessly and efficiently. If you think of your body as a machine, the sleep-deprived version of you may only produce one level of output, and this was the old version of you. But here we are attempting to achieve sleep nirvana at this stage, beginning to transition towards sleep nirvana, and now you'll be able to produce up to 10 levels of units of output, 10 times the output in this exact same amount of time. So your typical 8-hour workday can now be completed in 4 to 6 hours because you're solely focused on deep work without any distractions, anything getting in your way, just you and the thing. And like we talked about before, there's your current situation, the gap, and your desired situation. And this is going to apply with everything that you're doing, because anything that you're doing when you're well rested and the systems in your body are operating at peak capacity, you're just going to get the thing done, and you're going to go right from point A to point B, your current situation to your desired situation, every single day. And that'll add up to a transformation within yourself and just amazing results in your life. So this is going to allow you to spend more time with friends and family, or to pursue your lifelong hobbies. So how does simply getting a better sleep fix so many of these issues at once? Well, there's something known as the Paretos Principle. And this applies in business, and this applies within a lot of things, but what it comes down to is achieving 80% of the results with 20% of the effort. So if you do 20% of the effort, which in this case we're talking about sleep, you're going to get 80% of the results in your life. So what are some examples of Paretos Principle? Well, there's different phenomena within society that are pretty well known, and here are some of them here. So 20% of drivers cause 80% of all traffic accidents. 20% of companies' products represent 80% of sales. 20% of employees are responsible for 80% of the results. 20% of students have grades 80% or higher. And here we are, where sleep is that 20% to achieve 80% of the results for you. And if you think back to the very first week of what better sleep can just achieve for your life, better relationships, better memory, more productivity, more time to have just leisure to yourself because you can get your work done in half of the amount of time. It's really impactful what a better sleep can really give you when you achieve those results. So using Paretos Principle to achieve sleep nirvana. So sleep is that 80 is that 20% of effort that will result in 80% of the transformational results in work life, family life, and relationships with oneself. The right type of sleep, with the right type of sleep, it restores and heals your body from the inside and out. The body becomes less inflamed, which means that you can function with way more efficiency than before, requiring less energy output to perform the exact same task. So here we are with your old situation 1, where we have scenario 1 is you can micro-focus on improving your energy through coffee ingestion, reduce anxiety through medication, and compensate for your poor productivity by working extra long hours. And as you probably know at this point, that's truly not sustainable for a long period of time before your body begins to burn out. But here we are with scenario 2, and you can sleep the right way, achieve sleep nirvana, and have all your bodily systems running at 100%. This results in healthy functioning where you never have to ingest coffee or take medication because you don't need it. It's absolutely not necessary. Your energy and concentration levels are through the roof. Your mind is calm and relaxed. Time slows down. And your patience with those around you who you could not tolerate before, and tolerate very little before, is at its best yet. So you can just see such a better place to be. So in order to achieve the sleep of nirvana, we really have to take into account like our bodies, and we really have to appreciate our bodies. And the more you understand how your body works like a machine, you're not going to just look at foods or certain things you're putting into your body as fuel. Like, it's here now, I ate it, now it's gone. It's going to be, I understand all these different biological processes that are happening in my body. And if I eat this one thing, if I consume this one thing, or anything that goes into my body, this is the reaction my body is going to make. And it's going to be positive or it's going to be negative. And when you see your body in this sense, everything becomes so much more interesting. And I know when I made the switch, it was like learning another language. It was almost as if all of a sudden I knew this language my body was speaking, and I could communicate with it through just eating the right foods, because of something that we'll talk about is your internal bodily awareness. So everyone has a unique genetic makeup. Each human's body is different through their unique genetic profile, and there's environmental factors involved as well. Some people only require 6 hours of sleep, while others require 10 hours of sleep. While the science says that on average 8 hours of sleep is ideal, you may require more or less of sleep based on your current circumstances, such as stress, inflammation, and there's many other variables involved as well. So that's why it's vital to follow what you need, not what your friends, family, or society tells you. Your friend may only require 6 hours of sleep and function effectively, but you may need 9 hours at least a lot of the time. Just stay on your path, be easy on yourself, and don't worry about the circumstances that are out of your control. So the secret is to communicate with your body and senses on an intuitive level, not logical. Once you know the language your body is communicating to you with each sensation, you will know exactly what tool or strategy in this course you will need to use at the exact right time. So like I said, it's just getting out of your mind and going into a level of intuition. And the better your intuition gets, you just know at one time what your body needs, and you won't be able to logically explain it, but you'll just know what you need to take, what strategy you need to do, what tool you need to de-stress yourself in any situation. And you can, in addition to the chronotype that we've been talking about so far, you can customize your entire day, or you'll have all these different tools in your tool belt, which we'll discuss in the following weeks in the course. And all you need to do is just plug and play, because you know exactly what works for you. And this isn't going to be an overnight process. This will take some time. But once you become good at this, you're going to experience results way faster than you think. So how much sleep do you really need? So everybody is completely different, but there's an interesting study, and they put this into a chart, sleepfoundation.org. There's sleep.org too. And you can see starting from the left, so we have newborns, infants, toddlers, preschool, school age, teens. They all need significantly way more sleep than we do. The younger they are, the more sleep that they need. But now you get into the teenage years, and then young adult, and older adult. And the consensus is on average, you need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And this is super important to get, and it's also what Sleep Nirvana is evolved around. And some people are going to need sometimes 10 hours or 11 hours or sometimes 12 hours just to catch up on sleep. You might remember that crazy statistic that I told you, how if you don't sleep well on Thursday night, even if you got great sleep on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, by Monday, you still wouldn't be fully recovered. So right now, what brought you to this course, maybe you've been sleep deprived, not just on a Thursday night, but maybe many weeks prior, many months prior. So for you to catch up on sleep may take a lot more time than you realize, and that's okay, and that's fine, because it's all relative to you, and you're only going to feel better and better. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. So how do you know exactly what your body needs? Well, there's something known as the felt sense, and this was a term that was coined in psychology, I believe it was back in the 1970s and 1980s, and there was a book, it was called Focusing by Eugene Grenlin, and he talked about something known as the felt sense. So what it is an internal bodily awareness that arises from generally increased awareness. The higher your felt sense, the more in tune you are with your body and bodily processes. This is often felt in either the stomach or chest area, but it could be felt anywhere in the body. And me in the early stages, I definitely felt it more in my stomach and my chest. And it felt as if there was an armor plate over everything. It was like this shield that was tight constantly that was affecting my digestion and just my anxiety. I wasn't able to breathe well. But as I went through all these different tools, techniques, strategies that you'll learn through the course, that soon began to melt away. But it all began with me sensing that. If I didn't know that, and that took work, by the way, I was horrible. I was always stuck in my head. Then I wouldn't be able to even know that even existed. So you really have to start from that point. One of the crazy things is 85% of people lack internal awareness. Most complete people are completely disconnected from their bodies and lack basic bodily awareness. It is like people are living in their heads with their body as a transport vehicle to carry their mind around, which is a pretty funny analogy. And when I say that phrase, what pops into my mind is like a university professor. He doesn't take care of his body whatsoever. He's just constantly in his head, coming up with new theories, doing new reports, writing new journals, and he's always stuck in his head. And you can just see he's not treating, another word for this is your flesh vehicle, the right way. And all it is just a transport mechanism that your head rests on. So just keep that in mind. You always want to treat your body the same as you would treat your brain. So felt sense's relationship with sleep. So sleep doesn't only happen in the mind, it happens through the entire body. Your body's feelings and sensations offer great intuition and wisdom of the current state of your body. Tap into it and use it. It will not be easy right away, but it will be worth it when you do. And then with this intelligence, you will know the moment inflammation is beginning inside of your body, so you can stop it dead in its tracks, plus much more. So this is another thing too. It's not just how is my muscle feeling, is it tight here or there? It's also getting a sense of where is inflammation starting. For example, with my Crohn's in the early days, I had no idea what was causing the inflammation to begin with. And over time, what ended up happening was I was able to sense when something was coming on, when there might have been a flare-up starting to happen. And I would catch it about 3 to 5 days prior of it actually happening. And then I would be able to do what it took that very first day, within that first hour. And then by day 3 or 5, I was completely fine. I wasn't in a flare-up. I wasn't in any bad state. I just kept going about my day effortlessly because I stopped it before the problem began. And you can do the same thing too. And inflammation is a big one, but the better you get at this, the more in touch you'll get with your body, what it needs, where your problems are, what you need to take at the exact right time. So let's go into something known as the Internal Awareness Questionnaire. So this is the Body Awareness Questionnaire, and this is a really good set of 18 questions that you rate yourself from 1 to 7, where 1 is not true of me at all and 7 is very true of me. So listed below are a number of statements regarding your sensitivity to normal, non-emotive body processes. For each statement, select a number from 1 to 7 that best describes how the statement describes you and place the number in the box to the right of the statement. So you can go through all of these, and it'll be a total score of, all you'll have to do is, after you answer each of these questions, so I'll show you here. So for the first one, for example, I noticed differences in the way my body reacts to various foods. So you put your number in here. I can always tell when I butt myself whether or not it will be a bruise. And also very important bodily awareness. I also know when I've exerted myself to the point where I'm going to be sore the next day. This is also great. So these are all just different variations of sensing your own internal bodily awareness. And then once you get a number for all of these, what you can do is multiply, you can add up your scores, and see what they come to. And then what you can do is compare it to what the total would be. So if all these were 7, you would just multiply 7 by 18 and see what that is. And then just divide the sum of your scores by that. And that'll give you a percentage of how good it is. And ideally you want to be above half or 3/4, but the closer you are to the total max score, the better off you'll be. So this will give you a really good sense of how you're doing at this point in time. But what's also important is this will just give you a baseline to see where you are right now. And then in the weeks and months to come, you can redo this questionnaire and see how far you've actually come with your progress. So this is just great to have. And you'll be able to find this in the resources section on the left side, so you can download right to your computer. Okay, so complex problems, easy solutions. So we have many different systems inside of our body. There's 6 and there's a couple more, but they kind of overlap into these main 6. So first we have our skeletal system, we have our the nerve system, we have our cardiovascular system, our respiratory system, our digestive system, and we have our muscular system as well. And each of these systems really overlap in so many ways. And when one system's not functioning the way that it should, the other systems are going to be lacking and really in a state of disease as a result. So it might seem that each of these systems are isolated, but just know that they're all connected. And when there's one weak link in a system, you can be sure that other systems that rely on all these other systems will be not performing as well at the same time. So an in-depth view of each system. So the circulatory system, it moves blood, nutrients, oxygen, and hormones throughout the body. It consists of the heart, blood vessels, arteries, and veins. Then you have the digestive system. And this allows the body to break down food and remove waste. And that consists of the mouth, the esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and liver. You have your endocrine system, which is the main hormonal system within your body. And these consist of 8 major glands that secrete hormones into the blood. These hormones regulate bodily functions such as metabolism, growth, and sexual arousal. Then you have your immune system, the body's defense against bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens that might be harmful. Then you have your nervous system, which controls both voluntary actions, moving your muscles that we consciously decide to do, and then we have involuntary actions like breathing that's unconscious for the most part. And these send signals to different parts of the body. And your muscular system, which consists of 650 muscles, which is huge, that aid in blood flow, movement, and other bodily processes. And the 3 types of these are your skeletal muscles, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. And you also have your reproductive system. So the male one consists of the penis and testes, where the female reproductive system includes the vagina, uterus, and ovaries. And sleep affects every single one of these systems more than you can imagine. And this is looking at everything from a macro point of view. But if you were to zoom in, even on each bodily process, down to the cellular level, what's happening in each one, it's just like a musical or a symphony that's happening. And like every snowflake is different in its shape and appearance. So is everyone's body and biology, and there's environmental factors and genetic factors, but you can really take the reins and control all of it by controlling your life and doing what we tell you here. So fixing one or many systems. So our bodies are extremely complex biological machines that run on a variety of systems that all overlap with each other. The amazing thing is that when you fix one system in your body that was deficient before, it could be the one thing that fixes your sleep forever. And in other cases, repairing each system one at a time may be required before seeing remarkable improvements. So it could be one or many. Everyone's different. It could also be the case that one system is not working properly because of another system's deficiency, and this creates the chicken or egg dilemma. Fortunately, we can pinpoint what systems are dysfunctional with the material you're about to discover in this course. And when the system is repaired, your sleep will improve, and when your sleep improves, the remaining systems will fall into alignment. So it's really a beautiful thing. So precise measurement for exceptional results. So really this is all about getting objective as well. So there's two parts of it, and in order to get the best results possible, you want to take in the entire picture. So you have your subjective interpretation of the reality around you, and also on the inside as well, how you're feeling on the inside, but also what you think of the outside, your external environment. But there comes a point in time when you can't just rely on that, because you might be tired, your judgment might be off, and especially when people are sleep deprived, we talked about how they think they're performing is really not how they're performing at all, and their subjective experience is a horrible indicator of what's happening in reality. So this is where we get objectives. So how do you know, based on your own unique biology, if your body is functioning well at a given time? Especially if you have a poor subjective experience of your well-being, it is going to be almost impossible to know if you're going to make any progress with your sleep and biology. Therefore, people really need an objective tracker of biology that indicates how well it is functioning. And if the tracker indicates that your body is doing well, you know that you are doing something right. If it is bad, then you know that there's something you need to work on. So this is really important because you know where you stand at a point in time, and you can compare your subjective experience with the objective data of the tracker. And the more far off that variance is, the more out of alignment each one is, then you know that how you rate yourself in any given moment isn't actually how your body's functioning at a given point in time. So the goal really here is to get to the point where you're so good, for example, that bodily questionnaire, really sensing your internal environment so well that you're like, yep, I don't feel well today. And sure enough, so does your tracker say the same thing. So now it is time to start monitoring your subjective experience. And we're going to be adding your subjective experience into the mix. So on top of getting objective, we'll add in the subjective as well. So did you meditate today, exercise today, take supplements, eat well? With this knowledge, you compare it to your objective data from the tracker and see where you are succeeding and failing. And this really sets the foundation from which your new age sleep journey begins. And it has to be done from this place and all the way through to, we're really scientists here going through this program. You're a scientist on your own biology, and you're forming a hypothesis right now of setting data for yourself, setting goals for yourself, and where you want to be over the next 8 weeks or however long that it takes you. And we'll be talking more about doing more scientific analysis of yourself. And don't worry, it won't go in super scientific depth, but it's going to it's a step-by-step formula that you can follow and just plug and play. So you're just going in the right direction. So there's 3 different sleep monitoring objective markers or devices that can measure your objective markers that I highly recommend. And I've used many, dozens upon dozens, and these are my 3 favorite. So starting from the left, we have the cheapest one, and this is the Sleep Cycle app. And what this does is they're always updating the app, but it's going to give you just an overall indication of your sleep, how you're doing, and like that. And what it does is you can either rest it on your night table right beside your bed, and it will pick up on the sound frequencies. And the more you're rolling around, the more sound you're going to make, and that's probably an indication that you're in a lighter phase of sleep. Also, you can put it on your mattress right under the sheet and in the corner where your head is. And when it's there, your phone's accelerometers will actually pick up on movement that you're having. And it combines that in addition to the noises that are made, and it comes up with this whole analysis that puts it into graph format. It tells you how much sleep you got, and it gives you the basic analytics that you need of how well you slept that night. And it's by no means the most in-depth or the most accurate, but it's a great place to get started from. Next, we have the Apple Watch. And with the Apple Watch, most people are very familiar with this one, and most people I know have this one. And it's really good too. I mean, not only can you tell the time, but one of its secondary functions is you can really measure your sleep, but also your daytime activity. You can see as well, and you can compare your daytime activity to how well you were sleeping. So if you slept well that night, how did you physically perform? How many steps were you able to get in without getting sore? And vice versa. If you, for example, were to have physical activity the day prior, how did you sleep that night? This is really important information for you to know. And then lastly, we have the Oura Ring. And this one's actually my favorite. I've used this one for a couple years now, 3 or 4 years now. And this one really does it all. This one is specific for sleep, and you can wear it in the daytime too. But I like it because it's just very non-conspicuous. And what you can use it for is you just put it on, and the ring actually has a built-in memory chip put right inside of it. And you can wear it as long as you want, and it's not actually constantly communicating with your phone, so you don't have to worry about something known as EMFs or Bluetooth when you sleep at night. And you just wear this thing, and then when you wake up, you just turn on your phone's Bluetooth, and they'll sync with each other, and then you'll get a whole dashboard of how you slept that night. And it's just great because these things look good. You would never know there's this technology built inside of it, and you know everything about your biology at all times. It actually measures your heart rate, your respiratory rate, the amount of steps you took, the calories burned, your body temperature, everything really. And here's some of them here. We'll get into it in the next slide actually. But first we'll talk about setting a baseline. So you do not know what you do not know. Once you get one of these sleep trackers or similar sleep tracking tools, it is time to start monitoring your sleep to set a default baseline. So to set a default baseline, use a tracking device for a set amount of time, from 1 week to 1 month. I mean, the longer time that you can use to set a baseline, the better. But for the sake of this course, I would just recommend 1 week starting out for now. And you want to get an average of all these scores, and it's going to be different for each device. So really just get a handle on which each of the stats are saying to you. And then save this data for future comparisons to observe progress from the starting point until your future end goal. And you can put this all in an Excel sheet as well. And I have a specific Excel sheet that I use for certain clients when I'm working with them one-on-one sometimes that we use. And this is really helpful too. But nothing is left unchecked when you use a tracker. So depending on the tracker you decide, and like I said, Oura Ring is my personal favorite, your heart rate variability, your body temperature, respiratory rate are all measured. And this is where I'm getting into what the Oura Ring truly measures. And together, they can tell you what your exact sleep time, total REM sleep, total light sleep, total deep sleep, total awake time, your sleep efficiency, recovery index, and activity levels, which are some examples, your total steps, daily movement, and calories burned. Every single minute of your day and night cycles are monitored and tracked. And this is one of those Pareto principles, because you just have to wear this damn thing and you're going to see results. You don't have to constantly be doing work and thinking about, okay, how am I doing right now? I have to fill in this survey. I have to fill in this survey. Those are great, but you can just wear one and in the background it's doing it. So I think this is a must along your sleep journey. And if there's another one that I didn't mention on this list, then go for it. You don't have to use any of these. These are just ones that have worked for me and compared to other ones I've tried. But you might find it to be different, so use what works for you. So then there's the objective and subjective synergy. So comparing the objective scores from your sleep tracking device to your subjective assessment of well-being gives you an estimate of what healthy habits you did or did not complete for that day. For example, if your sleep score was poor, you feel horrible and did not eat healthy, meditate, or exercise the day before, you know exactly what you must work on to make improvements for the next day and for the next week. And this allows you to really fill the holes and seal off that gap to get to your desired situation. So in order to maximize your sleep quality, here are some of the things that you really want to aim for. So each of your sleep tracker will say different things based on the different companies and what the key indicators that they measure, but ideally REM sleep, you want that to represent 20 to 25% of your total time asleep. And this works out to about at least 2 hours of REM sleep is what you're aiming for. Deep sleep, you want at least 10 to 20% of your total time spent asleep. And this works out, I would say, for the most time, at least 1 hour, 15 minutes to 2 hours at least. That's a good range to go within. And you want your total sleep time to be between 7 and 9 hours. And you may require more starting out to really catch up on some sleep. But once you get sleep automation into place, you kind of want to aim for that range. And then you want to fall asleep quickly, so less than 15 minutes. Make sure your tracker is saying that you get to sleep. And this falls into sleep nirvana again, because this is what we're trying to achieve. No waking up at night, uninterrupted sleep, not even going to the bathroom. You shouldn't have any of that. If your biology is functioning how it should, as long as you're not drinking loads of water before bed, then you really shouldn't be getting up at night. And you want to see increased heart rate variability during the night. And heart rate variability is an indication of your parasympathetic system activation. And what your parasympathetic is like your rest and digest system. So you had fight and flight, and this is called sympathetic your sympathetic nervous system. And this is when you get stressed and everything. But think of your parasympathetic as just relaxing. There's something else we'll talk about known as your HPA, or hypothalamus adrenal pituitary axis. And this controls how your body manages stress, and sort of this mechanism that goes on when stress arises, how your body deals with it. But what heart rate variability is your heart's response specifically to stress. So it's usually aligned with your breath, and the more aligned your breath is with your heart rate, usually the higher your heart rate variability will be. And there's more factors involved with heart rate variability, but it's also your body's ability to just manage and handle stress. And the higher your score, the better and more resilient you'll be. And you can improve this by a ton, by the way. There's no genetic destiny that will make you set to a certain range for the rest of your life. And also what's important is little to no snoring. That's really important. And if you are snoring, that's a sign of something that's probably not right happening under the hood of your biology. And then you want your daily resting heart rate in the morning to be constant or decreasing compared to your monthly average. So as time goes on and you're improving your health and your sleep and everything else, a good indicator that you're moving in the right direction is your resting heart rate during the day is lower. It's becoming lower. This goes with heart rate variability too, but generally speaking, a lower resting heart rate is an indication that someone is more healthy. And that's why a lot of the time you'll see very fit people with a low resting heart rate, and your tracker will tell you all of this. And again, you can set that as a baseline and then measure over time to see how much it comes down. And then you have no unusual restlessness or movement during the night. You just sleep like a rock. You're not having nightmares where you're tossing and turning in bed. You're just sleeping completely still into the night. So with all that said, you get into a place of seeing for the first time. And when you see for the first time, everything is just so clear. You can see everything exactly what it is, and not some delusion of what you think it is. And because everything just makes sense, you can sense your internal body so well. You know exactly how your system's functioning based on your tracker, and you'll be able to compare those results from the constant feedback of how am I feeling now? Okay, I don't feel that good. Let me see how my tracker is. Oh, it also doesn't look good. And then you take an internal note for that day. But imagine that over a period of weeks and months and years, you'll really become a master of the self. So here we are, PreSleep Solution. So you may have been or are right now, you feel like a shell of your former self. So before trying to fix your sleep, you're in a foggy daze, completely lethargic, and relying on coffee to get you through the day. Your old self is unrecognizable in the present day, as it feels like your personality has changed and you're not the same person you once were anymore. You might be reaching medical dead ends, so conventional doctors prescribe endless sleeping pills. Sleep studies show that everything looks fine, and medical experts tell you that nothing is wrong. However, you know that something is off, but the so-called experts are not giving you any answers. Feeling like you have nowhere to turn, you are left to think that it is all in my head. And I was definitely in this place, and it was not a great spot to be. And I think it's one of the lowest points you can hit, because there's nobody you can refer to for help anymore at that point. It's just like, if I keep taking these sleep pills, if I keep drinking this caffeine, my problem is just going to keep getting worse. And it's like whipping a tired horse. It's just not going to go any faster. And also not living the life that you want. So the opportunity cost of sleepless nights and tired days are making a mark on your life, sucking you dry of any free time to spend with your loved ones, friends, and most importantly, yourself. And now here we are with the new model of sleep, the Sleep Solution system. And so switching to the new model is about taking a holistic approach to sleep by fixing these dysfunctional systems in your body so that the whole can work better instead of micro-focusing on one piece of the entire pie. This approach is entirely natural with no need to use drugs of any kind. And it's really the most comprehensive sleep program on the planet. I've bought all the sleep programs that are out there. I've seen them, what's missing from the sleep thing, not only to create this program, but even in the early days, just trying to figure out what's happening with my sleep. And a lot of these people, they really hit the mark of what good sleep takes. And they talk about the basics of going to bed at the same time, regular hygiene, things that your doctor who has 2 hours of medical school training might tell you, but it's so much deeper than that. So there's no programs that will give you this level of in-depth knowledge and answers to your sleep challenges. So you can use it a couple ways. So whether you want to use it as an encyclopedia and refer to certain sections when you need it, or you can go through the entire Sleep Solution system in one go, you will get an equal amount of value and knowledge. Now, I don't mean just starting this program, picking and choosing certain sections to go to. You will not get good results that way. First time through, you want to go through each module in sequential order, as slow and steady as you need, implementing each thing, because there will be a lot of homework and action steps for you to take, and not everybody has the time. So just know, go through it once, and then once you go through it once, you can go through it again, or you can refer to certain sections like an encyclopedia whenever you need it. And then we have New Age sleeping. So when you cross over and become a New Age sleeper, it will feel like a heavy blanket is lifted off your face, and you're finally able to see clearly for the first time. Your days are no longer a struggle. In fact, they are effortless, so much so that you sail through them with ease. And each time you wake up, it's really not a struggle to get out of bed, and you're looking forward to the day, not dreading what's going to come up. Now, I really wish I could show you this video, but because of YouTube copywriting laws, I'm not actually allowed to. So I wanted to create a link that you can check it out for yourself right now. And what he describes is a video about conformity and nonconformity. And I've watched this gentleman's name, Jason Silva, for many years now, almost 10 years. And he's been on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. And the way he thinks is amazing. And this video is only a couple minutes long, but it really encapsulates. It's a National Geographic way that they approach this. It's just very artistic, and I like it a lot. But the message of it is just nonconformity and what happens when we conform to the standards and norms that our society and the mainstream tell us. And this program is really making your own path and going your own way, and not listening to what other people say, and really just focusing on you. Because when you come out the other side, you're going to be the new icon that people start to look at, because of the results that you were able to achieve, and basically the knowledge and wisdom that you have to pass on to other people. So in order for you to attain that, you can't conform to any standards when it comes to sleep, and that you're not able to do it throughout your journey here. So pause this video right now, go to www.thesleepconsultant.com/nonconformity, and it'll be on there for you to watch. And I'll see you back here after you finish it. Okay, welcome back. So next, what we're going to talk about is we're finalizing week 1 here, and to get you off to a great start from this whole week's unit, which is the road that lays ahead, I want to set you off onto a great path and start and really get that subjective experience of how you're feeling and just where you would mark yourself right now as we start to set this baseline. So what I include in the resource section that's downloadable on the left-hand side of this module is something known as the Week 1 Questionnaire. So the Week 1 Questionnaire is a set of questions I've designed to get you answering and thinking and to really just be self-reflective of where you currently stand, and this will also get you motivated for what's to come as well. So we'll just go through a few of them here. So write down and set your positive intentions here. What are your intentions for joining the Sleep Solution system? What do you hope to leave with? And then I've also included some of the statements rating yourself from 1 to 10, as these are super important. I feel like my cognitive performance is at its peak. I know exactly how many hours of sleep my body needs. I wake up feeling fresh and rejuvenated, and etc. Answer those. You can put in here any additional notes that you have. How often do you skip sleep because you are too busy? Is it all the time? Is it sometimes? You might not even know until you start thinking about these things. Next, we have visualization questions. So what would your life look like if your brain had more power? What would your life look like if you were healthier? What would your life look like if you just had more time? How would you contribute more to your family, relationships, yourself, and community if you started having healthy and quality sleep? And then journaling. This is also super important as well, being self-reflective. And ideally, you want to be able to journal once a day if you can. We'll talk about this a lot in the mindset section, but this will help immensely with stress. So you have different areas of your life: career, relationships, physical, mental health, dreams, and goals. How bad does sleep impact these areas? What are your top 3 pain points for bad sleep? And then in this section, I'll fill this up with the last one. I'll talk about this one because you can't do this right away. Is what are your limited beliefs of conditioning about sleep? And what are they that you hold on to? Be completely honest to yourself and write down all thoughts and fears that come up that keep you from having the perfect sleep on the left column, which is right here. And you can make notes in here as well. And then my new empowering beliefs about sleep. So fill all those in there. So it's a lot of this pattern of before and after, filling in where are you right now, where do you want to be, and then in the future, where you were then, and then where you are now, seeing your progress. This is really what is going to drill this into your subconscious mind and get you real results. And lastly, there might be some questions on here that you might not be able to answer right away. So for example, areas of sleep in your tracker that improved. You might not be able to answer this right away. It might not be until week 2 or 3 you can. So save this document, change it as you need. You can save multiple versions of this. So you can put this as version 1, set the date to it as the name and file within your Sleep Solution System folder where we collect all these different documents. And then in a couple weeks from now, you could set version 2, re-answer these questions, and then just keep going back and see where you are. And then you can begin answering these questions. Areas of sleep in your tracker that improved, positive daytime, evening sleep habits that I've consistently been following as you progress through this course and you learn new things as well. So here's a recap of what we covered. So be more productive by sleeping more in less time. Your biology is unique, treat it as such. Complex problems, easy solutions. Precise measurements for exceptional results. And seeing for the first time. So here are your action items for this week. So I want you to download the internal awareness questionnaire handout in the resources section. Answer each question on a scale of 1 to 7 to get an overall sense of your general bodily awareness. After that, I want you to get a sleep tracking device, any one that you want. It could just be the sleep tracking app that I told you about a few slides back, or you might want to just invest in a true sleep tracker right now, like an Oura Ring, an Apple Watch, or any other one that you prefer, but that's a great investment to have. And then I want you to begin monitoring your data and setting a baseline, whether it's within a week or if you want to wait a little longer than that. And then after that, I want you to download the Week 1 questionnaire, which is in the resources section, and answer all the questions as much as you can. And like I said, some of the questions will not be applicable right now, so keep this document handy as you progress throughout future weeks in this course. So really, this is, again, what it comes down to. And I'm going to repeat a lot of the same things in here because that's how important they are. And I want to make the message super simple so you can just digest it as easy as possible and not be too complex at this stage in the game so you become overwhelmed. So what I want you to do is to go slow, be persistent, and achieve results. This is just a minor setback when you see how easy the process is with the right know-how, with me here to guide you every step of the way, one sleep at a time. Now let's get this thing done. And I want to thank you so much for, as we conclude week 1 here, for joining me throughout this first week. And I hope you really got a lot out of it. So I want you to do the work, and I can't wait to see you in the next week ahead.